Hello, everyone. Today we're with Dr. Youngky Kim. He is our chief advisor at Spacecoin, and he is also ex-president at Samsung Electronics and Network Division. Nice to meet you, Dr. Kim. So we are today focusing on how we ended up working together on Spacecoin. Initially, when I pitched the idea of deploying satellites into space and creating a decentralized network, Dr. Kim wasn't too keen on the idea. Dr. Kim, please tell your perspective when I first approached you with the idea.
I think it's maybe 4 years ago, you came to my office and talk about what you are doing in a current your credit coin and Glua and your vision for the futures. And you mentioned about I'd like to make some decentralized network, more like the Bitcoin in financial systems. So at that time I was not that serious. But after listening to your visions, I felt like that it is overwhelming, too big visions. So it is too big to be realized. So maybe you remember, I politely, I don't know if it's polite or not, but I declined.
Yes.
So give up. It's too big, too overwhelming.
Right.
And then I almost begin to forget. But he came to my office and make a progress step by step. And early last year, he came to my office. He said, "I launched a satellite." So I recall myself. Is it insane or sane? But at least, and then maybe you remember, I planned to that time to launch more satellites. So at least at that time I begin to realize how serious you are. And then I think so your satellite make progress to me in that sense. So I begin to dive into this decentralized network concept. But as you know, I believe I have one of the most long experienced person in a cellular network. I have been working on the cellular network for standardization, implementation, commercialization, and the deploying all aspects of the digital cellular network, which is centralized networks. So, but from time to time during my about 30 years experience in a cellular network, from time to time I hit the walls. The problem sometimes comes from the centralized essence point of view, but it was just from time to time thought. And then I begin to dive into this decentralized network. You call it Spacecoin. I call it Space Network. I think both are fine.
Yeah, both are fine.
So since I'm network guy, I call it Space Network is more natural to me. But Space Network is use Spacecoin. It's the main bottom line. So I dive into this decentralized concepts, and then I feel like naturally I kind of I got a lot of gravities, and I cannot away from this at some point I think it is about the September time or the August time frame last year. I feel like I'm pour into the decentralized network world.
Yeah, you were fascinated with the idea, and you got more and more excited.
Yeah,
and it was a positive cycle, I guess, because you were actually getting more serious about the idea, and you were overwhelmed with a bunch of new ideas around how to actualize decentralization. Because I think around that time, you now I felt like even you were pitching me instead of I'm pitching you.
Yeah,
about
right. Yeah.
how this is such meaningful, impactful idea, and for not just for the cellular network or just like financial network, but for humanity, because this is transition from a central authority regime to a democratic society.
Yeah, right. I think I recall around that time. I mean, I'm the semi-retired, so I played golf still time. And I found myself, I walk in my office till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. after the golf founding. I could not away from the decentralized. And as you described, I found two things. One is it can be realized. It can be implementable. I found out as an engineer, this decentralized network can be realized. That's the first thing. And second thing is the profound impact and the values of from the decentralized. As you just point out, maybe at that time I tried to describe the potential value of the decentralized network. It is basically in decentralized network, each node is become the independent node, same as the independent individuals, independent companies on the free market, where they have dignities, they have independence, they have a right to pursue their happiness. But under the right principle, under the right spirit, each that individual pursue its own happiness, make more value to the whole society. I think the same thing could happen in our decentralized network. And my brain and my heart beating up and work on this decentralized network technologies. So to me, I feel like I have more than 30 years experience in cellular networks, covering the 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5Gs. But I feel like all this my experience and my whole those histories of my professional life has been there so that I could work for this project. So I feel like that way. And I think this is our kind of the talk shows. But I'd like to appreciate your approach to me. I think I really respect the Tae's visions, and I really appreciate you. I don't know how you picked me up, but you choose me and persistently persuaded me to work for this, and I appreciate your all those things.
But to your point, the reason why we ended up working together is not just because it wasn't me trying to just focus on you and you only. That you were like probably only out of like 5 people on earth who can actually actualize this. Because in order to rebuild the whole cellular network from ground up, it's not simply replacing a certain operational layer of a cellular network with blockchain. You actually have to understand the ins and outs of the whole network to design the whole architecture to fit this into decentralization that comes from blockchain. And as you just mentioned, that you are the person who was there from 1G to 4G, even 5G, you were probably only one of like couple people, like probably less than 5 people, who can actually make this into reality. And that is why I had no options.
I see, thank you. But it's, so I'm lucky guy, fortunate guy, not because of my abilities. I could have a chance, as you just explained, the chance to develop the whole technology from the 1G to 5G. That is not because of me, because of the time. I was there in the right time, right positions. Yep. And you said I could be one of the 5, but I think with this network experience and together with the blockchain expertise and your experience, I think we are not one of the five.
One of
I
them.
think one of the one.
Yeah.
I think it's that is I think we are in a we are not the most intellectual persons, but we are the most lucky persons.
Right.
We come together, we work together in the right time, in the right place.
Correct.
So that is unique.
Yeah.
So I think I feel maybe I'm too much excited about that's it.
But the timing is critical because if you do same thing like 10 years ago or 10 years later, it's totally different thing. Like if you launch a rocket, let's say like 50 years ago, that's something unheard of. But if you launch a rocket today, then just you're one of like hundreds of companies out there. You have to do things in the right moment. And and when I was pitching you the idea, I was trying to tell you that space industry is getting commoditized such heavily, and the price of developing and launching satellite was drastically dropping every year, and that is why it's now economically and technologically feasible.
Yes.
And you slowly understood it, and then after you accepted the fact that now the satellite-based network can be decentralized due to those feasibilities, then I think that's when you actually understood, after understanding this is feasible, then you understood the impact of building a decentralized cellular network. Yeah,
right. So you point out the right things. And to me, since I have a long history, solid, so it's the right time is important. I believe you maybe heard about Iridium.
Yes.
That's the first the global satellite project.
It was the first attempt.
It was too early.
Yeah.
So it's too early. So it's a similar vision as Starlink, but it is too much expensive. It can be realized. And another my personal experience is I'm the first generation of the digital world. When I joined the one USA companies in about 1990s, it's more than 30. How many years? Okay,
that's almost 40 plus years.
Yeah. So at that time, I was the first few digital modem guys, and that company had really brilliant analog modem guys, and then we. But since all the digital processor and those things are, could reach the commercial levels, so I could utilize it. So even though that analog modem engineer is much more superior than me, they could not generate the right solution. But with I'm novice. I'm just out of the college. But the solution I made is much better than them. So that time I thought I'm genius. But I realized that for a while I realized I'm on the right time.
Right.
So I think this decentralized global satellite, I believe we are in the right time, in the right place, as you just mentioned.
And when I'm talking to partners or other people that I meet in this industry, what I tell them is it's either us or somebody else. The decentralized network, telecommunication network, is now feasible. When it's feasible, somebody will do it and somebody will be successful at it. So it's either us or somebody else, but the concept itself, I strongly believe it will eventually happen. I think it's the law of the nature, because when something is possible and something is useful, it will eventually be invented by someone, maybe not me, but someone, and implemented and become successful in the market. And eventually you and I were on the same page about that idea for these reasons. And you also helped us recruit very strong team. So you were talking about the right timing, but we also have to talk about the right team. Can you briefly go over the team that you have helped us build to work on this?
So I think, first of all, I really surprised to myself. How come I didn't think about applying blockchain technology to network? I mean, that is quite mysterious to me. I mean, it is quite natural.
Right.
I mean, blockchain, the beauty of blockchain is without central point, we can make robust but consistent ledgers, the record. But that is, I'm sorry to go to the little technical side.
No worries.
But in the heart of this, how can you make a decentralized network? The heart, what then to make the, I'm sorry to make the long the answers,
that's
but
fine. That's the beauty of long format.
So what then to make a decentralized network, we understand what is centralized network is. In a core of centralized network, there is a ledger or some book or some file, which has all the data and information about each node and network topology. That is more like the real estate registers. That is the main files. So the owner of operator of that network has that file. He has it, he manages it. So that is the core of the centralized network. And it is so natural why we do not think about applying the blockchain technology to these main files. And once I dive into this decentralized, that is first thing I found, how come I didn't think about this? And then as you point out, I thought many people already did. And I tried to search everything and found out there's no serious work on this. So naturally I propose and make some document how we can blockchainize these main files. And that is the first and most important step into the decentralized network. And I talk about many things before I answer how I compose my team, make my team is. So now I think I'm ready to answer the questions. So to make a decentralized network, we should know the people. We should have people who knows what is the centralized network is,
right,
and what is the central point of this centralized network is, and we need that person. And but that person should be aggressive,
right,
and move it forward. And I tried to find out, search for those pieces, and I found, I think, the world's best engineers. We need the physics,
right. So
we have a best, but in physics, it doesn't matter if it is centralized or decentralized. The basic is the same. So we choose the best, the link engineers. We successfully hire him. I think it is. I think his Tae's vision is overwhelming to them. So we are successful. And then we need some person who system engineer all these software hardwares. So we successfully hire the best system engineers. So we have all key engineers, as well as I said, we under the top of the blockchain technology, and test team has best blockchain engineers. So combine them up, we have unique development teams. I think in terms of this synergy between network, from the physical layer to network software to the blockchain, I think this team, I'm proud of this team, and I think it is really fortunate. I think you have a fortune team, and I'm really happy to help you have those teams.
Oh, I really appreciate it. I feel the same. I think we were very lucky to have our current team working on Spacecoin, and I can tell that they're the best people to work on this project. So it's not just about you having the expertise. Like you said, the person has to be aggressive and open-minded about it, because for many people who has expertise in traditional system, they're kind of stuck in that box. So it's very hard for them to think outside of that box. But the current team is constantly pushing the boundaries and coming up with unique new ideas, which is leading to us having to file various patents about Spacecoin and the Space Network. And I, as a blockchain person, we are default open source, so I never really had to file patents before, but now I'm kind of drawn into this telecommunications world where patent even comes before writing reports or white paper even. But before the public sees any detail about our technology, we are actually speaking with patent attorneys probably like weekly, even a couple of days a week already. We met one of them like 2 days ago too, right?
Yeah.
Together, yeah. So it's a very different culture, and it's very refreshing to me. Speaking of different culture, in your perspective as a person who has 44 decades of telecommunication background, what's the biggest difference you see in terms of the technological culture in telecommunications and blockchain, if you have any?
I think the main difference is we need the physics, we need the hardware.
Right.
That is the main difference.
Right.
Because of Tae, I begin to understand what the blockchain world is. So I'm not expert, but I begin to understand, realize. And I found out the biggest difference is blockchain, from the idea to the commercialization, it's quite short.
Right.
It only involves software only. So that is why you don't need the time to file the patent.
Right.
If you have filed patent, you're already late.
Right.
So the idea, implementation, and commercialization is really fast.
Yeah.
But since it is mainly software, so because of that, it's faster and it costs less money.
Correct.
The investment is not as big as a hardware involved project.
Especially compared to space projects. Easily people spend billions of dollars on building their satellite constellations.
So because of this hardware involvement, to make investment, the investment should align. It takes a long time, and since it is hardware, if we make a certain decision, harder to make a change later. So we need a consistency. So we need consistency in a long time base compared to blockchain software based industry. So long time consistency, much bigger investment. Then if we don't have this, first we don't have a patent, right patent, that means then we cannot make this alignment, consistencies. So for some people, when some people make some decision in investment, he has at least some peace of mind of consistency. The patent will help to maintain this consistency. So that is the difference. I think that the difference between the software-oriented industry and the hardware-involved. I don't think our project is only hardware only. It is quite balanced, hardware and software. So because of the hardware involvement, we need long-term consistency and a large investment. Then to protect, to have some peace of mind for investors. What would be some certain level of enforcement of consistency? We have the great series of patents. Then because of this, the people move this direction, the inconsistent directions. So the patent is a weapon, is a tool for that.
It's a shield and a sword at the same time. We protect ourselves, and when we need to attack, we can.
Let me add one thing.
Okay.
If we do not have the patent, then other people kill my project.
They can.
Yeah. So since let's say we make these ideas and make up and without filing patent, and one day some people come to us, I filed patent, and you violate, then we have to stop.
Right.
So at least in a defense way, we need a patent. Yeah.
So ideologically, the worst case scenario for me is somebody who's not even planning on building a decentralized telecommunications network files a critical patent and blocks everybody else from creating a decentralized network. So that will be the worst case scenario.
Yes.
So the reason why we're constantly aggressively filing patents is actually to avoid that situation for everybody else.
Yes,
too.
That's the first step. Second step is since this compared to the blockchain, it requires a lot of the investment.
Right.
To justify this investment, we make some ecosystem where the people get the right position and contribute to this project and get the right returns. So this patent and we talk about consortiums. So we have to make certain ecosystem where this ecosystem prosper and the contributors got the right the returns. So since this is decentralized, that the world is a totally different world compared to the centralized world where there is one entity investors, one operators. While we have theoretically, if we have 10,000 nodes, we could theoretically we could have 10,000 owners and operators and participants. So we should make some ecosystem where these people could work together collaboratively and gather some returns rightly. So we have to make that ecosystem, and my belief and my understanding is Spacecoin is enabler for these ecosystems. That's my understanding.
And I think the next step for our technology development will be so while we are building it on many fronts simultaneously. So while we are designing the Spacecoin, but like you said, this is a high capex project. So we are also constantly working with partners who's either going to invest in our constellation or launch their own constellation, which is going to be compatible with our system. So, and when we invite these partners, then we will slowly build a stronger and stronger ecosystem. Ideally, what the world we want to have is where when there's 10,000 satellites up in the sky, we want 10,000 separate independent owners and have a more stronger decentralized network. Going back to the decentralization, can you elaborate on the point where the decentralized network, the value of decentralized network, converting from like a communist authoritarian regime to democratic, as a network person, what's the biggest difference and what's the biggest value do you see from this transition?
Okay, so maybe we need a couple of more interviews, but I'm going to point out the most important one. I believe you remember the main files. So main files. So if that main file, the network and node configuration file, if that network file is blockchainized, as we as we developed. Then join to the network and leave to the network will be made its own will.
Yes, independently
so
decided.
independently they could join and they could leave. So that is kind of each individuals, each nodes, owners or operator, that individual actually will pursue its own interest.
Right.
On the proper spirit and proper the rules or guidance.
So free market system.
Yeah, free markets.
Yeah.
So that each of that one they're gonna pursue with their dignities, with a certain proper spirit and some guidance and rules. They pursue that his own profit.
Mm-hmm.
Then by under the right spirit, by allowing, by actually promoting all those efforts, the whole system gonna be more competitive and create more values. It's the same as free market with the centralized market.
Right.
So our decentralized market enabled by blockchain and the main important is main files, blockchain files. With that one, each node become each the independence and pursue their own their maximum happiness. Then if we believe in that system, we believe in that system, you have to believe in decentralized network.
So in other words, if you believe in the free market system, is superior compared to the controlled market, then it's natural for you to believe decentralized network will be more competitive compared to a controlled network. So it's not just about being permissionless, being secure, unbreakable, but also performance-wise,
yes,
because of the individual operator optimizing for their own interest, the overall network will be optimized as well.
Not just optimized, better than centralized.
Better.
And they create more values too, which we're going to explain later.
Okay.
And in addition to this superior performance and superior value additions, it is robust too.
Correct.
I mean, in old days, maybe I'm not historian. In old days, if the king is removed or certain, the whole kingdom is in chaos.
Right.
In a right free market.
Yeah.
Since we have all this individualism, independence, it is robust.
Yeah.
So in addition to this super performance, he's the father of decentralized network. So I speak like I'm the father of decentralized network, but I'm that much enthusiastic to this network. So this decentralized network is much more, 2 levels higher, more resilience and robust. So that's if you believe this free market is a more robust society, I think you could believe in those things too. So more robust, more strong, resilience, and better performance. So I think that is that is actually Tae and I made that vision together. I think I could say that way.
So business-wise, I pitched it from the blockchain angle, that business-wise, why Spacecoin makes sense. So to repeat, Bitcoin is not going to replace SWIFT, but SWIFT is a centrally controlled ledger, and Bitcoin was to create a permissionless one. AWS or Azure is a centrally controlled cloud computing. Ethereum was invented to create a permissionless version of it. And Spacecoin is not replacing a central ISPs necessarily, but we want to create a permissionless option. And you added to that, telling me about Intel and AMD and all the other cases in other industries. Can you elaborate on that point?
Yeah. I think since I'm much more enthusiasm decentralized, I thought I explained like decentralized is the only is a better one and only one. But I think I have to a little retreat from that point. I think the world need centralized one too. So in certain domains, certain areas, the centralized in that small scale make the better one.
Yeah.
So diversity is, I believe in diversities. So and monopoly is generate much more problems. So as you point out, Intel is quite not anymore, but Intel is quite dominant players. But for them to support and provide, have more business and better businesses, I think they not just allow, they in somewhat the promote alternatives, AMD. So because of the alternatives, Intel make more prosperous because of the AMDs. But so since the Intel is undergoes a very hard time, I don't know if it's right one, but now they are recovering too.
Yeah.
So as we all know, the Starlink make this global satellite is realizable, implement. But I think even for the Starlink, they need some diversity or alternatives. So I think we are better than AMD. I think since so I think I think people is deserve this very great centralized one and the very great decentralized one, which make the whole business better, and which make the people's more feel safer and more freedoms, more values. So I think our combination, centralized, decentralized, would be much better than Intel and AMD, but there's some common things.
So another example that I studied from computer science history is the invention of Linux. So when you probably were there and probably experienced directly yourself, but when Linux was invented, the OS market was was monopolized by Bell Labs and Unix. So everybody was building on top of Unix, and the issue that people were facing is whatever hardware components they developed, they had to send it over to Bell Labs for them to build a driver for it for the hardware developer to sell their hardware pieces. Else, Unix doesn't support it and nobody can buy. So that was a problem to centrally controlled project, and Linux came about being completely open source, decentralized. I mean, not exactly decentralized, but openly developed, and allowed hardware developers. You have a new component. Write your own driver. You don't have to get my permission, and you can ship your hardware with your driver directly to your customers, so that will be compatible. And I think that idea, like it repeats rhymes in all the eras. So, for example, like after that, when Microsoft was dominating the digital world, Oracle came out saying, "Hey, it's okay, you guys use Windows, but if you are stuck with Microsoft SQL and all their data, what would you do if they increase the pricing like 5 times, 10 times? So wouldn't it be safer to use Oracle as a database so you can swap Windows with Linux when Microsoft does such thing?" And that was that made Oracle basically what it is today, right? So I think this theme of having a backup plan, having an open project repeats in the industry, and I think it's very natural for telecommunication industry to have that also, but it was getting blocked by the limitations of terrestrial limitations, because terrestrial cell tower can only reach like a kilometer, and when Starlink happened and the capex requirement dropped. Now it recently became feasible. So I think Spacecoin kind of naturally happened, I think, after that.
I think so. And you mentioned about since your background is computer science, you talk about the Unix Linux. The similar things has happened in telecommunication. Maybe you are too young to remember AT&T.
AT&T, the company still exists.
Yeah, it is still, but it is really predominant.
Yes.
The companies who has when they make the cellular, they make cellular technology, handset, system, operation, everything, application, everything. So it is really most vertically integrated one. But as time goes, it is divided.
Correct.
And then it has a lot of openness. It is not 100% openness, but Android provides open API so that whole app business companies can work together. So it, as you know, with all these apps, I think we live in a different world.
Right.
So now, as we discussed, these things are happening in finance and happening in NATO. I think it will make the whole world the next level of the world.
Yes. I think we can wrap up there. Maybe I'll have a fortune to invite you to another interview next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Dr. Kim.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
I'm really lucky guy since I could work for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.